What's up, guys? Shane here, back with Vince the Anomaly.
What's up, guys?
And today Vince is going to talk about how to increase the speed of your punches. Well, not really, sort of. We're going to be talking about the double tap. What is that exactly?
Yeah, so this is a little tricky tactic I learned from watching Max Holloway, Nate Diaz, and my coach Adam Lerner as well. We go over this all the time. It's basically a little rhythm and timing control of your punches, and it actually helps you to land at a higher percentage as well. It's very easy to do, so let's go ahead and check this out. The 1-2 combo is a very basic combo. It's one of the first ones you're going to learn when you start striking, boxing, Muay Thai, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's very simple, right? We're just throwing our left or our lead hand, the jab, followed with the cross. So, of course, once you guys start sparring, that's going to be kind of one of your go-tos when you begin. We're over here, I throw my jab and then my cross. My jab and then my cross. But notice, even as I'm saying it here, it's easy to get caught up in this 1-2 type of cadence. 1-2. So that's a rhythm we're basically setting, and oftentimes too, even when you're training on the pads, 1, 2, 3. We're hitting at the same speed, at the same timing. So the way this double tap thing works is we're mixing up that cadence, we're mixing up that rhythm. A lot of fighting is all about rhythm and rhythm control, timing control. So basically how this 1-2, or excuse me, the double tap works is we're not going 1-2, 1-2. We're going 1-2. One more time, 1-2, 1-2. And notice here, guys, as I'm throwing this, this 2 is basically hitting the head right behind the 1. So my hand's almost coming out at the same time, which means that I'm not getting a whole bunch of power on this right hand. So don't think of this double tap as something that I'm going to knock my opponent out with, but think of it more so as a way to actually land my punches. So if this guy's catching, he's parrying all my shots, my regular 1-2s, and I switch it up and I do my double tap, that sneaks in. So maybe I throw that big hook on the outside, or maybe I come in with a kick after. I can really start to switch things up once I break that rhythm and timing that I've already set with my basic 1-2s. Also, as I'm doing this, you notice, guys, my hands are kind of sliding slowly a little bit out here. Now, of course, that means that I don't have a nice tight shell. My defense is a little bit lacking, so I'm going to have to be really wary of what Shane's doing and how he's throwing his strikes to combat what I'm doing. But my hands are out here, kind of like what Max Holloway is doing against Frankie in a lot of his fights. Is his hands are out here, which means that this distance from here to Shane's chin is very close. So even if, let's say, Shane and I throw the same speed, or he's even faster puncher than me, if he's throwing his jab from his head, all right, see all that distance that he needs to cover, guys? That means that your jab needs to be extremely fast to cover if I'm just throwing my jab from here. So if my hands are out here and I'm just popping that jab in, it doesn't matter if I'm slower than Shane there, I'm going to land it first.
Yeah.
So I'm breaking up that rhythm and timing of his strikes. So I like to, too, when I'm playing this double tap, is my hands will slowly start to creep out here. I'll do a little bit of hand fighting. 1-2, and then coming straight over with that 1-2 at the end.
I like that. I think when you start to reach and paw a little bit more, it works better when you got someone on the defensive, when they're moving backwards. You got to be wary of them throwing that big shot coming around the guard. But if you can have them on the back pedal being wary, and then you start to manipulate the hands and even just push down on the hands and shoot over top, Lomachenko style. And then one other thing that I like to think about when throwing the 1-2 is imagine that you have handcuffs on. I've talked about this in the past, and I know it's a good visual for people because you want to think about it like that. I'm not creating distance in between. I have these handcuffs on, so when I throw my jab, the cross has to be right behind it, and that's what creates that bop-bop tempo, that real quick 1-2. I had another point, but I lost it. Oh, think of it like just throwing the cross and then just flicking the jab as you throw the cross, right? So when we throw the right hand, we throw it like this. We pivot on the rear foot, we twist the hips, and I'm just going to throw that motion of the cross, but just flick the jab out first before you do it, and that's going to get that same tempo.
Yeah.
It's one less thing to think about. You still have power behind the cross, but then you still get an extra shot in there in between.
Yeah, and it's almost like you're throwing a second jab, right?
Yeah.
So you can kind of think of it as like these aren't these big, huge shots that are going to land, but it's almost like a really fast double jab that stays on Shane's face, and then I'm able to move around after or set up my bigger shots. So again, Max Holloway, one of my favorite fighters, from Hawaii too, of course. But he does it all the time in his fights. So if you watch any of those fights, see how he just manipulates that control and rhythm just by his hand position, that little double tap, and he just keeps something on you as he's coming forward, as he's pressuring. So this is great to work on if you're a pressure fighter, if you like to walk forward, if you like to strike, obviously. And it's also great to work on if, let's say, the guy you're going with is a lot faster than you. So I'm sparring with Shane. Man, this dude's super fast. I can't keep up. Let's try mixing up with the rhythm, right? Let's throw this double tap and then get some of my offense, some of my rhythm control going.
Yeah, a lot of people ask about how can I increase my speed, and the reality is you probably already have those fast punches. Just try changing up the tempo.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, there you have it, the double tap. I love that name for it, too. This is something that worked for me in the past. I always had trouble landing the right hand. I'd throw the jab, my cross would be too far away, and by the time I threw it, I'd be getting caught with something else. So just changing up the tempo, focusing less on your power and more on that speed, and just getting that hand to the target, and you'll notice that you're landing a lot more shots. So give that one a try. Until next time, be sure to check out Vince. He's got a fight coming up. Links in the description below, so you can follow him on his journey. Please support and subscribe to get the fight tips before your opponent does. Until then, I'm Shane.
It's the anomaly.
Fight tips for the underdogs.